My name is Mark Bakk, and I'm our Director of Finance. So I'll give you a synopsis of our audit report and then a quick financial update for you. But before I do that, I got a quick joke for you. If you've been to the last couple annual meetings, I've done this before. But what do accountants use for birth control? Their personalities. See, I can tell that one because I'm one of us. But this year, our board contracted with Brady Martz and Associates, an independent CPA firm out of Grand Forks, North Dakota, to perform our audit. It's the 5th year that we've had Brady Martz do our audit for us, and they audit roughly 20 distribution and generation and transmission co-ops throughout the upper Midwest, specifically Minnesota and the Dakotas. Their audit was, as usual, conducted by standardly accepted accounting principles and auditing standards, and I'm pleased to announce that they issued a clean opinion on our accounting controls again for this year. Their audit report also indicates that we are in compliance with the financial requirements that are set by our major lender, and for us that's the lending branch of the USDA. That's the Rural Utilities Service, or the RUS. I may mention that a few times in here, but the RUS, most people probably remember it as the REA, if you've been around a while, and some of you have, but that is now called the RUS, the Rural Utilities Service. I have a copy of our audit report. I have a couple of them here if somebody want to look at them before the meeting's over, but these are mine. I'm keeping these. After the meeting, you can look at them, but when I got to go, they got to go. If you want one to look at beyond that, they can talk to me afterwards. If you got an email address, I'll email it to you. I've got an electronic version. Otherwise, I can certainly make a photocopy and mail it to you. But if you want one, you need some bedtime reading, or if you're just bored, I can get one to you. As many of you know, and some of you probably don't, we report our monthly financials and our year-to-date financials on our website and in our monthly newsletter, our news line. And our final numbers from 2013 were also printed in our annual report, which we mailed to all of our members in April. We also put it in your registration bags here tonight. I'll touch on a few things from 2013 before I turn it back over to Dale. So what we're looking at here, this is a graph of our total kilowatt hours sold from 1997 through a projection for 2014. What you can see there is that we had pretty significant and steady kilowatt hour sales growth up through 2007. And then 2008 hit us. That's what now is being referred to as the Great Recession. That hit us as well. You can see 2013 is the second column from the end there. 2013 was the first real sales growth we've seen since 2007. It's directly a result of the colder than average winter we had, and that's 2013. That's not the one we're just coming out of now, and I'll touch on that one in a bit, but it's directly a result of heating loads. This is a little further breakdown of those kilowatt hour sales. It's important to note that on the bottom, it starts at 300 million kilowatt hours. The blue stuff on the bottom is our general service kilowatt hours. That's still the vast majority of what we sell. You can see, and that's appliances, lights, those type of basic electricity stuff. The red portion across the middle, those are our energy-wise programs, our load management programs. Off-peak and dual fuel are two of the largest of those. Again, the second column from the end is 2013. The major driver of our increase in kilowatt-hour sales was the increase in those heating programs for 2013. 2014 out on the far end there, we put that estimate together. We had expected a slight dip in sales from 2013 into 2014 because we were expecting a more normal winter. We didn't get that. So now we're crawling out from under the polar vortex. We didn't know we were going to set a record for most consecutive days ever below zero in this past winter, but we likely missed. 2014 there, we're expecting to sell less. I don't expect that anymore. But at the time we put that estimate together last fall, that's why you're looking at us expecting to see a little bit of dip in sales, but that won't happen. We were pleased to find out earlier this year that we were granted approval from the Rural Utilities Service to defer a portion of our 2013 revenue into 2014. And the reason that was necessary was we budget a certain amount. One of our largest expense items is the money we spend on clearing the right-of-ways, clearing the trees. We had budgeted to spend $3 million on that in 2013, and we were unable to get through that much right-of-way clearing that we had planned to do. So as a result, we had collected all that money that we planned from the membership, but we didn't spend it. So what that was creating was a situation where we had extra margin or extra net income in a normal for-profit business. It's extra margin for us being a not-for-profit. And it didn't make sense for us to take that extra margin, allocate it out to our membership in the form of capital credits, only to ask for it back in rates in 2014 so that we get that right-of-way spending caught up. So what we did is we went to the Rural Utility Service and said, hey, here's the situation we've got. We collected money from our members for right-of-way spending that we didn't spend. Will you allow us to move that revenue into 2014 so that we can get caught up where we had planned to be? And they granted approval for that. But one thing to note on here, and I know you've been scratching your heads wondering, you're saying this doesn't make any sense because you're looking at what appears to be a fairly significant increase in revenue from 2013 to 2014, but I just told you that we were expecting lower kilowatt-hour sales. So it doesn't make sense. But that's a direct result of us taking $2 million from 2013 and moving it into 2014, which appears that it would be a bit of a rate increase, but that's not true. That revenue that we moved into 2014 is directly offset by expenses related to catching up on our right-of-way clearing. You'll see that those expenses are included in that variable expenses line up there. That's where our right-of-way is. So it looks like a large increase in our variable expenses too, but the component of that is the right-of-way spending getting caught up. You can snag me after the meeting if that didn't make any sense, and I'll try to help you out, but I'll do the best I can. You know, and even though we are a not-for-profit electric co-op, we are required by the Rural Utility Service, RUS, to maintain a margin. And they do that in order to ensure that we continue to maintain a safe and reliable electrical distribution system on behalf of our members. What that means is we continue to make investments in our utility plant, our poles, wires, transformers, those things, in order to meet the members' expectations of service reliability. You know, as we make those investments, though, that creates increased expenses within depreciation and interest on our financial statements. Those two components alone make up more than $10 million of our expenses annually. With that said, though, the single largest component of our expenses is wholesale power. Wholesale power, we don't generate any of the power, we buy it from Great River Energy. It makes up more than 55% of our total expenses on an annual basis. Outside of interest, depreciation, and wholesale power, the largest components of our expenses are related to labor and our equipment costs. If you factor in inflation and the rising costs of the goods and services that we buy, our costs are continuing to increase. You know, at this point, it's too early to make a projection on rates for 2015, but it may be necessary for some type of small or modest rate increase in the 2015, but the board still needs to review those key budget drivers this fall and make that determination at a later date. But just wanted to throw that out there. Our costs are continuing to increase. So what it all means, you know, is that we will continue to hold down costs where we can. We'll manage the resources wisely, but we're not really willing to compromise our mission to deliver that safe, reliable, and affordable electric service. You know, that's what I wanted to cover financially. But I got one more thing that I didn't plan on saying that actually came up this morning. We had a member call us this morning. She received a call like about 8:15 this morning from a man with a foreign accent, saying he worked for Lake Country Power and that she needed to pay immediately over the phone or we were going to disconnect her electric service. So she gave her banking information to this guy and then later called us and wanted to verify. Well, we don't do that. That wasn't us. We will not call you and tell you you need to provide your banking information over the phone to us. We do make courtesy calls if some bills are later coming up on disconnection phase, but we will not ask you for your bank information over the phone. So if you get a call like that, don't give it to them. I mean, now this particular member has to go through the hassle of dealing with her bank and closing all of her bank accounts or that bank account she gave that information on, and getting a new bank, new checks, the whole works. But just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. Those scams are going on, but to my knowledge, that might be the first one that I know of that directly impacted one of our members within our service territory. So at that point, I'll turn it back over to Dale. Thank you.